Now I'll just continue my walk out of the red zone, just to give some idea of the terrain. I think it's probably hard to see in the camera, but make no mistake, everywhere I'm looking, the ground is tore up. It's icy today, so I'm going to have to be careful on my feet so I don't slip down these paths. I've walked through a lot of forests in my life now, and many, many of them with soldiers. And coming through an area like this would be pretty intense, as it was. There's stories from this area right here of men slipping down these slopes into shell holes like that one right there, and then drowning this close to men like me who couldn't get to them and help them without risk of drowning in the mud themselves. And it is muddy. It's a frozen day here, but this dirt is clay and it sticks right to your boots. There's not a lot of evidence that I see of gear or anything like that laying around. I'm sure it's been picked clean pretty much along this trail by scavengers for over 100 years. But what can't be undone is just the brutality of the firepower brought on top of this land. When I was in Bastogne 2 days ago, I went and visited the positions of Easy Company of Band of Brothers fame, and that's really interesting to go through those woods and get up to their foxholes. But when you get up to them, there's like 10 or 12 foxholes, little holes in the ground where they held their positions there. Here, every single piece of ground, and I mean every single piece of ground here, is the lip of a crater. Big craters too, not like stuff I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, these are from big artillery, like battleship cannons and 155 millimeter guns. There's a prominent one there. It's been 109 years since this battle was fought, and about 107 since the war ended. And so, certainly nature has filled in a lot of the pits and trenches that were dug here, but you can just see that there's still a network running through here as well. And it's fascinating to think what's preserved and what's not. You know, go to a battlefield site, and including this one, there will be something that they had to choose to preserve and kind of keep it original. And I've studied dozens and dozens of World War I sites. This is my first time at one. I'm so honored to be here. But the Western Front ran from Switzerland to the English Channel, and it was as wide as the artillery range allowed for it to be. So imagine cannons on one side firing to their maximum range, and then enemy cannons on the other side firing back. And the area between those cannons represented this death zone that we often call no man's land, or really it's the entire front. And so this belt of destruction ran right across France and Belgium. And this is part of that. And this is the most intense part of it, other than the Battle of the Somme or Ypres. But for the French, this is like their Gettysburg, but on steroids, 100 times that. I don't think you can understand the French national identity without coming to a place like this. I read earlier that there are hundreds of war graves in France, and there's hundreds and tens of thousands of Americans and other soldiers buried here in France. But if they could choose only one to keep, it would be this one. That tells you a lot about what this place means to this nation. And these are victorious dead buried in these hills. They won. That means something to them. These people were outnumbered 8-1 when the battle began. The Germans shot artillery at these hills for an entire day. Millions and millions of shells by the time the battle was over. The famous slogan is, "They will not pass," or "They shall not pass," which was said by the French general back in Verdun, a few miles behind me. But this is where that work was done. Up ahead, through the woods there, is the trench of the bayonets. And I'll pick up with some more video later.